Hi everyone and good evening. I'm Gunawan and today I would like to do a presentation about the work that I have done, so such as literature review and the research background. But before start the presentation, I would like to introduce the research topic of mine, namely the role of cigarettes on university students' productivity level. So I would like to start the presentation by explaining the literature review. So I have read several articles, maybe around 17 or so on. So the information I get from the first article came from the Glue et al. In 2004. On the findings state that smoking cigarette could help enhance the cognitive performance it because of the effects of nicotine. And then there is a inline or a similar statement that came from the research by Swan and Lesov in 2007. They found that nicotine material in the cigarette has positive effects on certain cognitive domains, such as working memory, executive function, and neuroprotective. And this neuroprotective happens in under a certain condition. And then other findings from Frankenhauser et al. In 1971 and Edwards et al. In 1985. Both research have found that smokers are receiving an increasement in their proficiency after they smoke several cigarettes. And then there's an interesting finding came from the research by Warburton et al. In 1984. He studied the smoking effects on university students, which are smokers. And then there are interesting findings that came from Warburton et al. In 1984. Uh, in the research, the finding is that there is a positive effect of the consumption of cigarette, such as the smokers obtain significantly high marks on three aspects of academic achievements if compared to the non-smokers, non-smoker students. And then smoking also could help students to study and maintain the focus in the study process. And then there are also another beneficial effects of smoking that came from two research. The first one is from Hamstra et al. In 1987, and then from Meister et al. In 1972. From the both research, I conclude that smoking could help smokers to decrease the fatigue effects and also help them to increase their performance in doing several tasks. And then move to the second paragraph. In this paragraph, I have combined the contrast or opposite research finding with the before. I mean that. So in this section, the statement will be opposite with the before statement, with the statement before, I mean. So the first opposite statement came from Richard et al. In 2003. In his study of cigarette smoking and cognitive decline in midlife, evidence from a prospective bird cohort study. In this study or research, it using subjects with the age range came from 36, 43, and 53 years old. And this study have found that smoking cigarette can limit cognitive performance, such as low searching ability, and memory decline. And then other reports said that smoking cigarette can decrease productivity and cause several health problems that could lead to the death. That could lead to death. And that statement came from the research by Welt et al. In 2000. And then I also have combined two research from two articles. First one by Snyder et al. In 1986 and the research from Snyder and Henningfield in 1989. I have concluded both research found that smokers can increase their performance after they reduce the consumption of tobacco and nicotine. So the main finding of this research is that smokers got improvement when they are stopped smoking. So that's all about the literature review that I have done. And now I'll move to the research background. In the research background contain the reason and the introduction. I'm sorry, the first one. Research background contain the reason or the background of why I choose this topic and why I doing the research. And also there's an introduction of this topic. So from the first paragraph, I explain or I introduce about the control variable that is cigarette. And then in the second paragraph, I have mentioned about what smoking cigarette can give or can cause to the smokers. And then in the last paragraph, I have mentioned or discussed the reason or the rationale of this research. So uh, the purpose or the goals or the reason why I'm doing research because there is still a little or minimal research that discuss about the effect of smoking on productivity levels among the university students, even though there have been many studies that discuss the effect on smoking on cognitive domain and productivity levels. So I choose the subject in the student in the Fakultas Bahasa dan Seni of Universitas Pendidikan Ganesha because uh, in this faculty there is a phenomenon where where there are many students who smoke in the faculty area, and then this study also aims to find out and report objectively about the effect of cigarettes on student productivity. And then the study also aims to prove an assumption that spread among the smokers, where it says smoking can help to develop an idea so that it can have positive effect on completing the work that being in process. And then for the addition, the study that I will do uh, does not intend to promote smoking behavior because I am fully aware that smoking is giving more uh, bad effects rather than good effects. But uh, in this research, I emphasize on the what in smoking can influence on the productivity level or what the effect on the productivity level of students. So no many no matter what the result of the study, I expect the study can be a consideration for the smokers to stop and for the people who having planned to smoke. So this is the reference you can see. And that's all about the presentation. I really appreciate that you have watched this presentation, and I hope you all have a good day and good night.